So I'd like to welcome Jungkiu Choi. Jungkiu, wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
And let me just give you a little bit of background on Jungkiu's illustrious career. Jungkiu currently is managing director and partner at BCG, having been a senior advisor to the partners at BCG. Prior to that, he was director of corporate strategy and of management development at TT, a conglomerate of over 144 companies across Singapore and China. He was head of financial institutions at Carney. He was the global chief operating officer of retail banking at Standard Chartered Bank, and prior to that, head of strategy globally at Standard Chartered, and one of the youngest partners at McKinsey ever, having become a partner after his MBA in just 5 years and a senior partner in 9.5 years. And in terms of leadership and understanding what it takes to really become a world-class consultant, I know, Jungkiu, you were on the partner candidate evaluation committee. You were the chair there at McKinsey, and also at Carney on the partner evaluation committee, and on the head of the talent council chair at Standard Chartered Bank. So you really have had the opportunity to assess and develop thousands of professionals in your career. So it's wonderful to have you here, Jungkiu. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mike.
So why don't we just start, if you don't mind, by telling us a little bit about how you think about leadership and how you bring out the best in others.
So it's not just my thinking. Across many different institutions, I was part of developing the leadership model, applying those evaluation criteria, continuously being challenged how to improve. We interviewed all the fast elected partners, how they arrived at. We interviewed and analyzed why somebody doesn't really succeed. So it's not just my thinking. After many years of empirical studies and experiences, I can summarize into a few groups. So I think the professional leaders across the banks I worked for, 3 different consulting firms I worked for, can be grouped into 2 major buckets. One is called the leadership intrinsics. The other is called by apprenticeship. So leadership intrinsics in professional firms can be composed by 5 key sub-elements. Number 1, client leadership. Number 2, people leadership. Number 3, thought leadership. Number 4, entrepreneurship. Number 5, values. So let me quickly elaborate what it is. In our business, in the end, it's a relationship business. No matter how good you are, how impressive your pitches are, in the end, it's a relationship business. Therefore, clients buy you, not because they like your idea, because they like you as a human. So that's the client leadership. Can you build ongoing, trusted, reliable human relationship with the client? Another thing, every executives are very lonely. They feel very, very lonely. They have nobody to turn to. They should be perfect super person in that organization, but they cannot freely say, I don't know this. So they need somebody who can really trust, ongoing relationship. That's the client leadership. So can you be a real trusted advisor and real human friend? Second one is a people leadership. In professional firms and also in any organizations, you can order and make them obey, but you would not be able to bring out the best potential outcome of the people. So they need to follow you real heartfully. So how we can do that? So these days, we call it humble leadership, servant leadership. So that's the people leadership. Would people follow you without any other conditions? Then you can have much more power because you can choose anybody under you. So you get the best talents in the organization, best teams for the consulting project. So people leadership. Third one is the thought leadership. I would summarize it as called the spiky integrator. What does that mean is you need to know something really, really deep, whether it's a credit risk, also liability management, technology, data analytics, whatever it is. You need to know really deep to show that you are an expert in some corner of it. But if you only know one area too deep, you don't know how to bring that up as the institutional level thinking. As a senior executives or leader of the consulting firm, if you know too narrow, you cannot be a real advisor of your client. So you need to have a broad enough perspective, what's going on in the whole world, what's going on in the industry, how the overall, in this case, banking should do across all the elements. Then your area of expertise can go deeper. Also, you need to know broad enough that you bring the right another partner who are the subject matter expert. If you don't know anything about it, you do not know who to bring to serve the clients together. We call it integrated, spiky integrator. You need to know something about it. And entrepreneurship means you do something you have not asked to do. That's the real leader. You build entire institution. You build entire corporate for the benefit of the firm. So are you doing only the job description given to you? Or are you doing something beyond your job description to build the firm stronger, bigger, more powerful? The last one is the values. We are not talking about minimum value to maintain. Are you the value amplifier? Are you the role model of the people? So these are what we call 5 intrinsics. This is where we need to give the coaching, self-awareness. Our lessons learned is you can do a lot of training program, you can do a lot on the job. The biggest aha we found out here is self-recognition. Okay, I'm weak at that. The minute you know that you don't know, people start to improve. Problem is, we do not know what we do not know. Then nothing progresses. So intrinsic part of it is very important to make sure that people get aware of it, giving them right opportunity to grow out of it. So that's what we call leadership intrinsics. Let's go into the apprenticeship. How does people grow? So there are a few elements here. Number one is called radiation out. What does that mean? If I'm a really good person, very strong expert, very good consultant, very good executives, I help beyond my immediate project. I help beyond my immediate department. Can you radiate out? Only by doing so, you can test whether your knowledge is up to date, whether your knowledge is spiky enough. So radiation out, even within the same consulting firm, within the same institution, doesn't matter. You need to help beyond your immediate department, beyond your immediate project. Radiation out. Second one is called the radiation in. You cannot be the expert on everything. Are you willing to bring other partners, other people, other departments to help enhance your solutions, to build your business better? Are you humble enough to admit, I don't know everything? Called the radiation in. Number 3 is a diversity of experience. Let's say you're coming to the bank, you are the junior member in the mortgage product, you become a senior member in mortgage product, you become a team leader in the mortgage product, you become a team leader, department head of mortgage, you only know mortgage. Yes, you'll be very deep. Also, if you've done only sales across mortgage, you only know sales. So for the diversity, you have done product manufacturing, sales, risk management, ops management, risk control, credit management. Do you know variety of experience within the topic? So in the future, if you become head of mortgage department, if you have done only sales, your perspective is too narrow. At least you know the cross-functionally, that is much better. So what kind of experience do you have? That's called the diversity of experience. So that's the third one you need to think about. And the fourth one is how many leaders have you been working with? If you have worked with your entire career with the one single partner and consulting firm, you don't know what is the best leadership look like because you need to pick different types of strengths of leaders to emulate your own style. Same in any institutions. You've worked with the same person forever, you haven't picked up enough diversity of leadership style. People learn by seeing in action. So if I see many different leaders, I can pick up something that works for me. Then as years goes by, I formulate my own leadership style. So what's the exposure of leaders you worked with? So these are elements of apprenticeship. So today's leadership capacity and capability is defined by intrinsics multiplied by apprenticeship. And net, out of all of these things, I observed many client leadership, they're all suffering from their own limits. A lot of them are suffering from their own angers because we are so busy, too many pressures. So ultimately, what amplify all this formula is to maintain your calmness, to maintain your emptiness. So calmness brings the foresight. So you need to bring all this intrinsics, all this apprenticeship, but the last factor is peace in your mind, calmness for the insight. So I can summarize our lessons learned on the leadership in these three buckets.
You know, that's very interesting, Jungkiu. Let's start with the third area, because you and I, as you said, know how relentless your profession is when you're busy with clients. And very often leadership is considered the last thing people have time for at the end of the day after a project. So can you tell me how you have made leadership integral to your daily life?
No, Mike, as I know, you are a fan of jazz, fan of violin. I found a lot of executives who are maintaining their calmness, centeredness. They end up with having their own something to relax their minds. It can be painting, it can be dancing, it can be singing, it can be music, whatever it is. So a lot of senior executives we saw, they burn out. It's not because they're working too long. We work very hard. We work 80 hours, 90 hours a week anyway. But somebody who has device to release the anger, device to release the pressure, are the one who maintain very successful for a long time. So question back to you is, what is your trick? What is your own solutions to release yourself? That can be the key question. Some of the big conglomerates in some of the Asian countries, they train entire executives to the Zen breathing, and the entire organization has much less emotional problem. So that's another way to do it, kind of institutionalizing those emotional relaxation. But I'll leave it to you. But everyone should find own way to depressurize themselves.
And can you give us an example of where you've really deployed either some of these principles or apprenticeship ideas, and how you've brought out the best? Because I know we've worked together for a long time, and I've heard many stories of how other leaders have put their success down to how you have brought out the best in them, even when they didn't necessarily believe in themselves. So could you share a few of those examples?
Yeah, just a few things. I was leading total of maybe 14,000 people in China when I was the consumer banking head of China. They had about 11 different consumer banking heads for the last 10 years. Nobody trusted. You will come and go very soon. They don't trust you. So first thing I need to do is I'm here to help you. I'm here, not that short. So typically, a lot of senior executives arriving a country executive as an expert, what they do is they go to the headquarters, they start going through a lot of PowerPoints, reports, reviews, advice, discussion, meetings. The first day I didn't go to the headquarters, I go to the worst performing branch in China. I didn't even inform the people. Then I showed up at 7 a.m. I discussed with the security guard. They checked me, who am I? And then I brought to the breakfast from nearby restaurant, because usually in China, people do not eat breakfast at home. They come to the branch very early. I served the breakfast to entire staff. Then I sat down, how can I help you to make your business better? Don't bring any PowerPoints, don't bring any presentations. I literally visited all 100 branches by doing so. Sometimes breakfast, sometimes afternoon tea. No preparation, no PowerPoints, no Excel, whatever. I don't even inform them because they started preparing it. And I sit down and say, listen, how can I help you to make your business better? And I pick, at the beginning, nobody wants to tell. If you do it consistently, they start to tell you. If you fix some of them, they start to tell you more. So I collected a lot of ideas from the branch people, frontline salespeople, our agencies, and we applied all of that. It's a huge positive things. And now there is a real communication channel. People tell you the truth, because when you're in a very senior executives, the real bad story does not travel to you. So you need to listen what is really going on the ground. So that is one story. And I realized our attrition ratio is the highest among the foreign banks because we are paying 30% below the market average of foreign banks. So I said, okay, fine. So top rating person, I'll pay you double. Second rating will be paid about 160% of the market. Average performer will be paid by 120%. Below average 80%, worst performer 60%. When I calculated it, I need to raise grossly 40% of entire people. So I raised it. And then people didn't like it in the headquarters. I didn't inform my team, and get suddenly shocked. They started calling HR team, hey, my salary seems too much. So I called all of them, in a conference. Sorry what happened in the past. I cannot revert back everything in the past. From now on, I'll pay you better than the market. But if you want to keep me, this is how much I paid you more in total. If I don't bring more profit by the end of the year, I'll be fired. So if you want to keep me, I think we got to do a better job. No process change, no system change, no policy change, nothing changed. Before the end of the year, entire people delivered more than the entire cost I raised. I didn't say anything, right? Nothing changed. I only said this, sorry, we didn't treat you with respect. I think that's very important. We are all thinking about leadership coming in, oh, let's change KPI, let's change the process, let's change the structure, box this, box that, The other thing is, am I being trusted from my leaders? Am I treated with respect? How can you expect your employees to treat your customer better than how you treat them? So that was a very simple idea. It was a big bet. I know it's very risky, but turned out to be very luckily. My people delivered more than the entire incremental cost happened before the end of the year. So there was two stories I want to share with you.
Jungkiu, that's remarkable that you took a big risk to do that. Do you think that leadership is in itself an act of courage for you? Do you think you just have to put yourself out there? Because, of course, the more you do that, the more you're going to be judged, and some people will like it and some people won't. So I'm just curious, is that something where you have moments yourself of self-doubt, self-reflection about, is this really going to work? And how do you keep the possibility, particularly when you first started? I know you've got a track record now, but particularly when you first started, how did you manage in yourself those acts of risk?
I think we need to have a lot of self-reflection. I think a lot of partners and senior executives I interviewed, we do not learn by studying something. When you reflect, you really learn. So a lot of my reflection goes this way. We think we are doing something big difference, but we are part of the big machine doing a lot of BAU plus marginal changes. That's where our comfort zones are. It's good, we need to improve everything in the world. It's like some of my mentor told me, cost reduction and operation improvement is like a cleaning your teeth. Every morning you wake up, something went wrong, you need to clean up. But that's not good enough because it's a world of disruption, world of discontinuities. So while we are doing all these things, I always ask myself, am I doing my job in an incremental way? Am I doing something really different? Am I advising my client to be slightly better? Or am I giving my client completely new dimension of inspiration? If you walk down into procurement process improvements, we're talking about marginal improvements, right? But while doing those kind of projects, you need to step back. What new inspiration do I give to my clients? what new inspiration do I give my people? So every town hall I go in China studio again, every month I pick the best salesperson and I pick the phone, top 3, to their parents. Thank you for sending me a great child. Your son is now become the best salesman of entire China. Then they usually cry. Whenever I go to the town hall, I bring the guy in, I replay with his or her permission, the voice of the parent. Entire town hall, I'm not talking about PowerPoints, I'm not talking about targets. I'm just sharing what the mother or father says when I give the call. And everybody can feel it. Then I share to the people, do you want me to call your parents? Please be top 3. I'll call your parents. And we end up the town hall meeting always sharing those success stories. And we have one catchphrase at the time. We said, we make impossible possible. We don't work by the targets. We target impossibility and prove that we break through the impossibilities. And then a lot of our people did. So are we mindset set by the budgets, limits, incrementalism, or am I or are we self-reflecting, doing something transformative? We need to have a step back and always think, for me, for my clients, for my department, for my unit. I constantly challenge that. I'm not saying I'm doing that great, but at least I try. I think that's important thinking we need to have as a leaders.
Jungkiu, as always, it's an inspiration to spend time with you. Thank you so much for sharing your lessons on leadership. And I wish you every success. But for now, thank you so very much.
Mike, before you go, one more thing. One of my biggest aha working with you, Mike, you brought a jazz band explaining what does the team meaning. That was one of the biggest aha moments in my life, how to think about team. You let others to lead while keeping harmony, and that leadership can shift anytime, but spontaneously. That was my biggest moment of aha. I always share that story about your jazz band story to my teams. We don't have to be the lead all the time. The lead can change all the time. But all the rest, let them shine. All others, we make a harmony support. I keep repeating that story. So I hope you can amplify the story all the time. So thank you for sharing that learning for me. Just want to share that it was one of my biggest ahas.
Thank you so much.